Soon the CACs boarded a bush plane and prepared to fly over the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, where Mike was hoping to get a shot of some polar bears through an open plane window. While the pilot circles at 110 miles an hour, Mike Noonan takes the best video he can, fighting the wind at that open window. It turned out it was the carcass of a dead whale that Mike had spotted from the air, and it was this that had brought the mother polar bear in close to shore. Once again, he wanted the students to have a visceral experience of this very special land. While keeping an eye on safety, Dr. Noonan was able to expose the CACs to some of the most magnificent animals on Earth.
And so we went out, and lo and behold, it wasn't just a polar bear. As soon as we came close, it was clear that there was a full adult polar bear. But then shortly afterwards, you see running behind her is a baby, and then running behind that baby is another baby, and then running behind that is a third. And it was also just an amazingly fascinating example of animal behavior. This mother was moving north. She was leaving the whale carcass and moving her and her babies back onto the ice, and she stopped on 3 separate occasions and waited for this injured cub to catch up. And that you know, a naive human might think, well, of course she did. Not all animal species do that. And the fact that she did it 3 times, and the fact that she did it even though I think it was reasonable to infer she clearly wanted to be back on the ice. It was a great experience. Just to be in the presence of wild polar bears, I just felt so alive and so electric, and felt like it was the culmination of our trip to the Arctic. For me, it was magic. Personally, it was magic.
In another location on the tundra, the CACs get up close and personal with the land.
On a serious note, when we've already heard and we've read that some people think this is what ANWR is like, and we're in an untouched area here, or at least an undeveloped area of tundra. There's 2 ways of looking at it, 2 kind of polarized alternatives. One is, this is one of the last great untouched places on Earth and should remain untouched because it's just so pure, or it's a frozen wasteland and it might as well have oil wells on it.
I can see why they would say it, but at the same time I can see the other point of view, because there are some awesome birds and things in this area that we can't find anywhere else.
It's not a wasteland. It's a wild place for wildlife. It's not a wasteland. If you can call this a wasteland, then you could say that about any of the other refuges that we visited. And what about Iroquois National Wildlife Refuge? Should we let somebody call that a wasteland just because it's a wetlands that's not inhabited by people? This is a wild place for wildlife. It's not a wasteland.
Well, I'm very pleased. I really wanted the students to see the tundra for themselves so they can make their own decisions about this very pressing issue. And for me, it was like a defining moment for the CAC experience this year. The students were really thinking, well, maybe, what are we looking at? A big open empty space. And it was Betsy, who has been shy through a lot of this experience. She stepped forward and she made the statement, no, it's not a wasteland. We could say that about anything, is what she said. The teacher in me was just pleased as could be. It just couldn't have been better.
As the CACs leave the tundra, it's time to turn their attention to home and their next